Hey everyone, I'm Tyler, co-founder, CEO at OmniAI, and we're building AI agents for lending. So, small business lending is complex. It's never reached the same levels of automation that we've seen within consumer lending. That's because there is no one-size-fits-all process. Doing working capital lending versus equipment versus business acquisitions or commercial real estate all have different risks and different playbooks associated with it. In fact, the only thing that is similar across all processes here is the paperwork. So between tax returns, bank statements, appraisals, articles of incorporation, the average small business loan doesn't close until more than 40 documents are emailed back and forth with the team. And the longer this origination process stretches out, the worse your overall conversion, your acquisition costs skyrocket, and you're often left with overall lower credit quality because the borrowers who are willing to stick it out for 4 to 6 weeks of email tag to get their loan funded are usually the ones who didn't get funded elsewhere. And this is where Omni comes in. Our AI agent lives between your inbox and your LOS and goes back and forth directly with borrowers to help pull together their loan file, including validating any documents and data that are uploaded and running customized follow-up campaigns to pull together everything that goes into each individual business's underwriting checklist. And to start things off for a demo, I'm going to show you exactly where 90% of all commercial originations start, which is an email inbox. And so right here, I'm in my inbox, and I'm playing the role of a loan officer. And I'm talking to this guy, Matt McGinley, running the company Flagship Brewing. And he's looking for a $700K facility and say, maybe we've emailed back and forth a little bit. Maybe I've talked on the phone with this guy, and we want to kind of get things kicked off so we can bring him all the way through the underwriting process. So on this email thread, what I'm going to do is come down here. I'm going to send an email CCing our agent. So we've got an agent email address set up right here that actually goes to our AI agent saying, hey, Matt, it's a great start, CCing our support team to pull together the file. And so just by CCing the agent into this existing customer conversation thread, what it's going to do is it's going to go over on the Omni side, and it's going to create a new opportunity. So in a few seconds here, it's going to read through that email, and we'll see this new opportunity gets created. And so right now, we're in the progress of actually reading through that email thread and doing all the work that goes into filling out what information do we have so far, what's missing, and what do we need to request next from the borrower. So right now, we have some just basic contact info. A couple things are happening live. One is our deep research is running. And so this is going and pulling together a combination of third-party and public data sources to try to get an overall business picture right here. And so we're doing a lot of web research to check on that. And you might have just seen that a few values popped in here right as I was talking. So this is our underwriting checklist. This is all the information that we need to pull together to get this person into the next step of underwriting. And so we've got funding amount, business name, owner information, and some business information. And for our document requests, we just need their last 3 bank statements. So if we want to see exactly what's going on under the hood, we can go to our timeline right here. And this is our audit log of everything that the agent's going through and doing live. And right now, we'll see the deep research is still running here. We see this email thread has just been parsed. And from this email thread, we're able to go in and update a lot of these checklist items. And so we actually find this information up here in the thread. We see that we're even taking information that's kind of vague, and we're actually going through and standardizing it, as well as finding some things that we don't have a clear answer on. So for instance, in the email thread, he said they did around $3 to $3.3 million in revenue last year, which is not exactly the real answer that we want to do for what was their last year revenue. And so our AI agent has gone ahead and flagged that as we have some approximate values right here, but we don't know the actual answer. And that means they're going to have to go back to the borrower to get clarification. And so while we're going through that, the agent has already gone ahead and sent a follow-up email to our borrower. And so does the first introduction here and goes through and finds, okay, the last 3 things that are missing. We need the last 3 months of business bank statements. We need the gross revenue from last year as a single number. So the 3.3 to 3.3 wasn't fine. And then we need to know their time in business. Clicking over to an email view from Matt's side, what we would have seen is 2 new emails come in, one from me, CCing our support team, And then a minute later, the agents come through and has asked those questions of the missing information. Every time we send a request for information, we also send our secure upload link. And so there is a portal right here where they can go through and they can see what they've provided so far, what's still missing, any feedback from either the agent or the loan officer's perspective. Or the borrower can come right here and say, hey, Mark, around since 2014, revenue was 3.2. Here are docs. And we'll go ahead and just throw some files over here. And so while we'd prefer someone to go in and update everything in the portal, we know that not always are people going to do that. Sometimes they're going to call in some information and talk to you on the phone. Sometimes they're just going to fire off an email with tons of misspellings. And so we parse any information that comes in from either the emails or from that upload portal. And right now we've got photo of a driver's license, something we didn't even ask him for, as well as a few of those bank statements. And so going back over here to our timeline view, we'll see that this email has just popped in, and we're starting to look through these attachments. So we'll see a few attachments are coming in, and we're going to go ahead and do 2 more steps. 1, update that checklist items based on the information we got for that email, so he confirmed the time in business plus that revenue. And then 2, we're going to go through and start reading each one of these attachments and checking them against various credit policies. So one thing we need to check is that, okay, is this actually the document we asked for? Was this a business bank statement or a personal bank statement or any of the kind of very easy mistakes that somebody might make in the process? And then if there are anything that we find that need additional feedback, we can go ahead and email our borrower back immediately with that kind of feedback items right while they're sitting here thinking about it. And so we see that of these statements that came in here, one of them actually was marked as invalid. So we're looking at this document, the Flagship Brewing, May 2025. We see this is correct a business bank statement. We get a quick summary of what this actual attachment was on that email. And then we see we had 2 different credit policy rules that we were checking for right here. So first one was a business bank statement. This came back as fine. The second one is we see internal transfers over $75,000. So this is something where we wanted to flag, okay, was there some sort of internal transfer back and forth between accounts? If there is, that means that maybe we don't have the full financial picture here. And so we're going to need some additional clarification. And in this statement, it found that $200,000 transfer back and forth to a treasury account, which means that we might need to ask for some additional detail on that accounting. And so right now, the agent has already come in. It said, thanks for the files. June and July look good, but for May, we see that $200,000 treasury transfer. And so it's going to ask him now for, can we get a statement from that treasury account so we can kind of get a better full financial picture. And because we know that borrowers do not always come back and answer every single question that we ask them as soon as they're asked, every time we reach out for information, we actually create a customized follow-up campaign. And so right now, if we don't get a reply back from our borrower by tomorrow morning, then they're going to get this drip email confirming once again, hey, we've got this info, this is good. The last bit of information that we're missing is just the clarification on that statement right here. And we'll continue to run these customized follow-up campaigns for any type of missing information that we have so that we can pull together a full file at the end of the day. And coming back to our checklist overview here, we'll see we have more filled out sections so that a loan officer can come in, take a look and see kind of exactly where this person is in the process. We see a summary over here, last action taken by the agent, plus any scheduled follow-ups, and then all the checklist information, as well as the documents and any documents that failed a verification check. We can come right over here and take a look. Now, there is a lot more that I would like to show, but to wrap up the demo in the last 5 minutes, you can see how we can go from an email thread into an underwriting ready file. We see that we go through reading the emails, validating any documents, and then creating a custom follow-up campaign for any missing information. And the whole goal here is to be able to just really accelerate the process and improve the customer journey going through applying for financing. And while I just showed the origination agent today, this workflow applies to a lot of different scenarios within your bank, including things like annual reviews, covenant monitoring, closing packages, and more. And so if this type of work seems to line up with anything that you or your team are working on today, please come and find me after the demo, and we'd love to chat. Once again, we're OmniAI. Thank you very much.